I'll stay in the studio. That's what I'll do. Uh, no, I'll stay in the studio. Thank you very much. Uh, Welcome, everybody, to What the Fuck with Square Pegs. Look at us going all live and various things happening on my screen that I've never seen before that makes me very nervous. So I think before we do anything else, a few introductions are out the way. I'm Chris Young. I am one of the directors at Square Pegs, and I think we're going to be saying "what the fuck" an awful lot um,
Yeah.
over the next hour. So, uh, welcome to you two lovely people. Who are you, and why did you think that joining in with this thing would be remotely a good idea?
Siobhan,
Anyone?
Siobhan, do you want to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Siobhan, hiya.
I'm Siobhan. And yeah, I wanted to kind of join Square Pegs. I think because things need to change.
Mm.
I think there's just so much shit, so much what the fuckery.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
even a word.
yes,
Um,
yes.
Sort of going on, in the sort of mental health field, the sort of just disability, just yeah, and we deserve better.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah, I wanted to get involved in something that's kind of that's what we're gonna do,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm just delighted that you're here, and I'd like to think of this as the beginning of something rather splendid. So, Sim, how did I coerce you? Welcome. How did you end up in this space?
Um, yeah, I think, uh, yeah, just talking about uh, lived experience, uh, trying to raise awareness about people with lived experience, practitioners, and just who have been through the system, and
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, and trying to highlight and raise awareness of what it. I hate this term, but what it's like for service users to, uh, because it's as somebody who's been through social services a lot
Mm,
over years, it has felt that like when the big decisions are being made about the services, they only talk to the professionals and never the people who actually live with the decisions.
so there's a
Um,
feeling of it being top down.
yeah,
So
yeah,
decisions are being made by often well-meaning people, but
yes,
people who don't entirely know what the hell they're talking about.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know. Uh, in my experience, they don't always know the challenges that people with disabilities face on a day-to-day basis. They just have an idea.
The the reason why I thought this would be a good idea is that so many of us have what the fuck moments every single day. You know, it's like the world just delivers yet another what the fuck moment, and my feeling is collective action has to be the way ahead for all of us. Um, and we're in an environment where we're made to feel incredibly powerless
Mhm.
when in actual fact we are potentially very powerful. For example, how many people do you think voted Keir Starmer and his landslide government in?
It's
More than six? Greater, greater than 8 million?
it yeah, I mean it really does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
The absolute shit that's coming out
s-
there.
9 million. 9 million people voted for
Wow.
Keir Starmer. Right.
Wow.
How many of us are there potentially? Right. I want this to go a bit more Bruce Forsyth. Okay, you say something, and I go higher, lower, and look at what you could have won. Okay,
I'm gonna say 60 million.
60 million.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
I think I lower. Okay, look, it.
30 million.
30 million. There are at least 25 million of us.
Okay.
If you count punters, our carers, the people we care for, and our allies, there are at least 25 million of us, which is more than 2.5 times more than voted in the Starmer government.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of us. We have, if we can mobilize if we can get our shit together, then we can change stuff. We do have power. I think when as individuals, it's often very easy to feel powerless. So, do you guys want to talk about your knowledge or experience of people who have services? I mean, I'm really reluctant to call people service users because there are no fucking services. So, what's your feeling of the sort of state of play just now for folk?
I think it's just, I mean, it doesn't help. I mean, you're kind of talking about government, it doesn't help when, people with disabilities and, kind of are seen as the bad guys,
Yeah.
we're always the ones that are picked on. And it's always those services, yeah, as you say, there is no services because
Yeah.
they've cut them all.
Yeah.
Or even the ones that are there, they're obviously so oversaturated because obviously of the cuts that they make, or they just decide they're not going to fund it, so it does feel like a lot of the time people are just going through revolving doors, they got a service, oh, we can't help you. They've got another service, not, there's no funding, we can't help you. You're not, that kind of mild, moderate, severe, which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
If you don't meet that criteria, you don't meet that criteria. Well, what fucking criteria do I meet? What service can I get?
I'm mad, too mad.
Yeah.
Not mad enough. And then we're told we're manipulative if we try and work the system to get a service. So, okay, what I want from you, dear listener, viewer person, is first of all, we are just for I'm going to sort of show you all the exits, and there's no fire alarm expected. So we are broadcasting live to X. Look, there's even a link there. We're live to Substack. There's a link there. We're going to the Tube of You. There's we've also got our very own Facebook group, where hopefully people are lurking about. I can wave to you, and you can all love us dearly. Now, there's a thing that I'm very hopeful about, and Instagram has been very unfriendly to us. I'm hoping that we are actually on this Instagram link. The easiest of them all to link up to Riverside. Now, don't judge me, Sim, because during rehearsals in the past, almost nothing worked. So I'm actually hoping something has worked, and that we are actually talking to people that aren't actually just us. So we've also got, as I say, Twitch. So yeah, it's what we want from you is you can actually start writing questions. We'll be monitoring these different places, and you can put in questions, comments, that kind of thing, and we can start talking about them 15 minutes towards the end, so we can do that interactive thing. The other thing we want from you is, if you think we're just going to bowl up every week and talk about stuff that's made us go, what the fuck? No, we want you to tell us what made you say, what the fuck, this week. So every week we're going to come out at 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9 every Tuesday, and we're going to talk about what the fuck. And it has to be driven by you. It has to be grassroots. It has to be us. And it has to be ways of thinking about how we're moving forward. Now, it's absolutely not just about awareness raising. Awareness, everybody is aware. Everyone is aware that stuff is shit. We must raise awareness and we must start mobilizing and thinking, how are we going to change this shit together? How are we going to work together? So that's why, we set up Square Pegs to start thinking about what next. And now we've got a whole bunch of outputs, including this. We've got this. We've got PD Squared, which is a podcast coming out, which PD stands for both personality disorder and prejudice and discrimination. Squared stands for our intention to square up to that. So that's another strand to our bow. So we've got another video podcast coming out. It's called Hurt, and it's looking at the nuances surrounding self-harm and stuff like that. And because very often people get very hung up on the just stop self-harming, and they don't really consider, what else. We also have the Square Pegs itself podcast, which is where basically I drag information out of people under the guise of two questions. The first one being, who are you? And the second one is, what's important to you? So we've got a whole smorgasbord of nonsense going on. The other thing is, you can come on as a guest in this space. You can be with us. You can come and sit with us. I'll even give you a lower third that looks like this. Look, Siobhan's bit. Yeah, or Simeon's bit. See, you can have your own. You can have your own words here. So we've got a lot going on in our minds. We want to develop something. What do you guys think is different about our approach, and why is it definitely going to work?
That's a bold statement, isn't it?
It's a bold statement. It's a bold statement. No pressure. No pressure.
I think, yeah, just what Sim was saying, obviously all the other stuff just feels very top down, whereas this is, we are grassroots. We are, we are right at on the ground, aren't we? And that's, yeah, that's how it should be, because we're the ones that are living it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that know kind of what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to change and to get that, we need to be the ones that push that.
Also, just on that point, I think it goes back to what you just saying a minute ago, Chris, about the other podcast, the Square Pegs podcast. I think, and I'm not again. This is not. I don't think this is the people who social services or social workers or OT's fault. I think it's the system as a whole, but I think the system is forgetting those two very important questions. Who are we, and what is important to, and the second one, what is important to us? Because I think the system is so kind of stretched with funding that services that should help and support people with disabilities become more independent, to bring more inclusion in society, like the direct payments scheme. Social workers are not asking those two very important questions, which kind of prevents incredible schemes like the direct payments to work efficiently and properly.
We're constantly told that services are person-centered, and they're just not. Um, one of my cunning plans is that I believe that lived experience practitioners have got a key role to play in being in decision-making positions, uh, where these arbitrary decisions that affect us every day are being made without us being involved. So we need people, I believe, with a lived experience in amongst it all. Now, these people have been around for 40 years. I classify myself as a lived experience practitioner. I've been working with the National Collaborating Centre for Mental Health with the Royal College of Psychiatrists for the past 2.5 years. And the fascinating thing is, having spoken to a lot of people with that heady title, there's a lot of people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And there's a lot of people who don't know what's expected of them. And a lot of people who have their own tame lived experience practitioners, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to pay them. Very often there are people who are volunteers doing the same work as somebody who's getting paid a salary. So the situation just now is in utter chaos. So what we need, I believe, is some kind of central body that kind of looks after us. So it looks after us, looking after people with mental health problems, mental illness, mental ill health, whatever you care to call it, and disabilities in all walks of life. Um, so I know it's a big ask. Um, I'm planning to do this for the next 10 years. I should have got myself a hobby. I was thinking about making a model of HMS Ark Royal out of matchsticks. Now that I'm 60, but I thought maybe I could do something slightly more useful. So what are your
We've
thoughts?
got Chris, we've got a wee comment here actually
Cool.
from Naomi. So also because we need recognition of the huge impact of long-standing ongoing disability and illness, a lot of discussions can get co-opted by being told all these staff have personal experience too. I don't in any way want to support hierarchy, but there is a
Yeah,
big difference between short-term counselling for a one-off episode of anxiety or depression, which requires no or a few weeks off, and lifelong experiences that affect your ability to function on a daily basis.
fantastic. Thanks, Naomi. Where did you find Naomi? Where was she lurking?
It's on Facebook.
Facebook.
Facebook, the absolute pinnacle of social media. Now, all the rest of you guys who could be elsewhere, I'm hoping for you to sort of step up to the mark. What are your thoughts, guys, on that? On what Naomi was saying?
Yeah, as you said, there is a huge difference, isn't there, between the two? I think some people, yeah, they could experience a sort of one sort of episode, as you said there, of anxiety, depression, but it's very different. And I think it's about actually, where do you kind of draw the lines in it? Because like you say, well, I've experienced anxiety once in my life before.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can't really compare that to somebody that's experienced anxiety for years, and it's obviously having a massive impact on their day-to-day life. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I think that's a really useful statement. What about you, Sim? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I I think this theme is going to come up a lot with, but I think postcode lottery is also quite a big. I
Yes.
don't know what it's like in Scotland, Siobhan, with kind of services, like mental health services, but it there isn't. In Bath and in Bristol, I would say uh, a lot of people would resonate with what Naomi was saying. But I do think that postcode lottery plays a big part in this discussion.
I think one of the interesting things that's come up for me a number of times often it feels like a hard one to challenge you. So you're in one of these professional environments, and somebody says, "What do you do?" And you say, "I'm a lived experience practitioner," and they say, "Well, we've all got lived experience,"
Yeah.
and you can't quite argue with that because everybody does have a lived experience, but they don't have this lived experience that
Yep.
What do you think lived experience practitioners bring to this environment?
I think, I mean, I believe you can be a hell of a lot more empathetic, you know, massively, and have more compassion because you know exactly, well, you know exactly how they're going through, but you know, you experience kind of similar feelings, kind of thoughts, kind of, and you know how hard, actually, you know how hard it is. You know, whereas somebody that maybe hasn't, and maybe read a textbook about it, how hard it could be, but actually not actually have that feeling of how hard it is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which then I think allows you to be, like I says, more empathetic, more compassionate, and more relatable.
Yeah, I remember somebody on Twitter, well, sorry, the band previously known as Twitter, um, he, and he was a psychiatrist I follow and I have a lot of respect for. And he was saying that if they had funding for a member of staff, he'd much rather it was a clinician rather than somebody with a lived experience. And I thought they're two very different jobs,
Yeah.
and I think there's value in both.
Mhm.
Um, so I think if we sort of start setting up these sort of false dichotomies, we could get into all kinds of weird punch ups. Um, so what I'm going to use the wise words of Oscar Patton Lyons, who is one of our directors, and he said that it's his belief, and it is my belief too, that people with lived experience practitioners are the connective tissue that hold services together, and I think that's true because you know I was a social worker for 17 years, and you can get very lost in your own silo, and you're very focused on social care, and then you talk to nurses, they're very focused on that, doctors ditto, and so on and so forth. Whereas we punters, I think, have a global view of what's going on. We know what it's like to be, well, everything from being incarcerated to being treated to not being treated to being on a waiting list for the whole fucking country hating you because you might get some kind of welfare benefit or, dare I say it, a motability vehicle. I mean, personally, I've got a motability helicopter. I got it for tennis elbow. Um, it was, but you know, it's so easy to fool the system into supporting you. So we so this is sort of stuff that we're beginning to talk about. You know where we're coming from. You know that we're going to be grassroots. So we've got a few ideas over the next couple of weeks of what we're going to be, what we'd like to talk about. This is just to help you bed in and start thinking, right, what kind of things would we like to talk about? Uh, Now, Siobhan has come up with a cunning plan for our next episode. Do you want to throw a teaser at our eager listener?
Um, yeah, I guess the kind of idea as well was get back into what the fuck is about the news items as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Things that were kind
yeah,
of up and coming in the news, or you know, things that people were kind of getting really irked about, which you know, and yeah, I guess one of those things was the more recent sort of things surrounding ADHD and it being overdiagnosed. So yeah, I'm gonna be having a bit of a chat about that.
yeah. And do you know, I'd like to think that it'd be, you know, knowing me, knowing us. Hold on, that was be very nearly knowing me, knowing you. We could have gone complete Alan Partridge there. Uh, I'm hoping we're going to rant and show some anger and start thinking about how we mobilize and we mobilize against the utter shite that we're being fed. You know, things like mobility vehicles being handed to everybody, things like ADHD being overdiagnosed. I mean, we have at our fingertips the interweb, which is an incredible piece of kit. And people choose not to look at it, but they're more keen to just believe something that their mate, their uncle, their cousin 15 times removed has said that's hateful against a vulnerable group of people rather than just look it up.
It's the same, but it's the same with like, I guess these sort of influencers.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
where they kind of will spout a whole load of nonsense and then people, because people like favor them and think that these amazing fucking people and will just believe anything that comes out their mouth because, they're brilliant. But,
yeah,
you
yeah.
ask them for the evidence, you ask them for the research, and then they absolutely fold because they're just like, well, because it's not there. Um, so
S-
yeah.
So I'm beginning to see my arguments, my earlier arguments, kind of falling down already because I'm thinking, you know, I was saying that we don't need to raise awareness because people know. And it turns out that people don't actually know because they're willing to believe any old tat. So we need to be influencers. We need to influence people. I mean, look at us.
I
We're
mean,
influencers. Yeah.
yeah, I guess in a way that is kind of what we're trying to do as well. And but the kind of influence I'm talking about are obviously nothing kind of
Yeah.
related to what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, when you're kind of talking about obviously internet, it's so powerful, and it just takes that one thing to go out there, reach, even people that kind of are quite naive or vulnerable, and that's it, they're hooked onto that, and then yeah, it's a big old kind of, it's, where do
It,
you even
it,
start?
I know it's kind of terrifying, I think.
Mhm.
Um, so with again with our eager listeners, I want them, I want you to come and talk to us about your
Yes.
experience. I mean, it's all well and good me banging my drum and saying that in my experience, services have not been great. Um, Actually, just give you a flavour, and I'm going to share. We're a compact and bijou group. We're friends here. So with my mental health malady, I have a label of borderline personality disorder. I can say with great confidence that the services I've had for the past 17 years have been fuck all. I've been on a variety of waiting lists and I've received fuck all. Um, in other news, I had a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes and I had services within a moment and it was thorough and it was fantastic. I then, because I'm 60 and things keep falling off, I had a need for a colonoscopy. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to be talking about colonoscopies, did you? Anyway, I had a colonoscopy. Now, I made some AI music about my colonoscopy, which I'm not going to share with you because really I need to get out more. But the service I got from them was out of this world. So the service was really quick. It was sensitive. It was caring. I felt in the driving seat. Is that a good word to be using in the driving seat? Colonoscopy. Anyway, no matter. Um, at all stages, and even afterwards, they got in touch just to make sure that I heard what they'd said afterwards, and it was brilliant. Um, and I'm just wondering why there's this kind of discrepancy. That
Yeah. And it is frustrating because you'd think this day and age that we'd be in a different space, but honestly, are we any further forward than we were years ago? I don't think we are, because You know, I spoke to people that kind of work in the NHS and, you know, that have maybe worked for years. And, you know, even now they're still saying there's still this huge disconnect between physical and mental health. And it just absolutely baffles me because you can't have one without the other. You know, it's part of you as a whole, as a
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
So why are we still in that space where we're separating them? And why, yeah, as you say, services for kind of physical health is like on the ball, you know, straight away, but yet our mental health is treated so differently.
So, yeah, I've rapidly turned tonight into a bit of a quiz, but here's another part of the quiz. What percentage of GP appointments do you think relate to mental health?
I mean,
I'll
I
do the.
don't know about percentage, but I mean, I'd imagine it's actually quite high because,
Yeah.
you know, when you hear about, I remember getting told a sort of a statistic. This was a few years ago. I'd done sort of the assist, you know, the assist course, and it was a guy from the Police Scotland that was doing the training, and he had said to me that the, you know, 80% of police calls are mental health related.
80.
So 80%.
Fuck. Fuck.
So yeah, if you're thinking about GPs, I'd imagine that'll be pretty high as well.
Yeah, yeah. Now, interestingly, it's not that high. It's 30%
Okay.
of appointments,
I was expecting higher, but
Yeah.
okay.
but only 8% of the budget of the NHS budget goes on mental health.
Mm,
So that's just a massive
yeah.
mismatch, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
So
yeah.
8%, is that just in England or is that like
That
across the United?
according to my in-depth research, which was
Mhm.
probably quite nerdy because it's sort of thing it was UK wide. So
Wow. That's and is that it'd be interesting to know since COVID and since kind of lockdown, has there been a there's obviously been a rise of mental health cases and mental health referrals.
yeah, definitely.
How many of them are still on the waiting list to get mental health services? Is
Well, I mean, this is the thing. You know, on one hand, we've got a complete lack of services, and on the other hand, people are losing their shit. That people are claiming benefits because they're ill. So if we're not treating people for illness, what are we? What do we expect? So, right, further quiz time, guys.
Mhm.
How much in dollars? I'm sorry about the dollars here. How much do you think we spend roughly per head of population on healthcare every year? How much? Is it higher than $5,000, do you think?
So is
Yes,
this
it
like,
is.
yeah.
yeah, so is this kind of healthcare just in general,
In general. So
overall, yeah,
per person
per
in the
person?
UK.
I want to say 15,000 or that's
Oh, if only that were true. So
I know.
it's higher than five. Higher than five. Do I have any advances on higher than five? What have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Come on. You- Oh, right.
Well,
I'll
Sim
tell
said
you.
15, did you not just say
Yeah.
15? Did you?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
15 is a lot closer to what the United States spends on healthcare per person.
Okay.
What we spend is about six. So
$6,000.
we spend less than half of what the United States spend. Now you can argue about all the fuckwittery that goes on in the United States about insurance and all that kind of malarkey,
Yeah.
where people work hard, but there's still that pot of money that goes towards healthcare
Wow.
that is
Okay.
spent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Interesting.
if we invested that, then surely things would be better.
The politicians have been arguing for the last few years that we're spending more money on the NHS than we've ever done before. That we can't invest any more into the
You're
NHS
right.
because we're already
We're a burden,
investing.
Sim. We're a burden. Thank God for assisted dying. Uh, now, okay, so it is very
Yeah.
easy to get into that burden rhetoric. And you'll be surprised to know that the burden rhetoric is utter fucking bollocks. Because, right, how much does society get back in pounds for every pound we invest in healthcare? According to the World Health Organization.
So do you mean by through like
So,
national insurance and taxes
so,
and
so if we
stuff?
if we spend a pound on me getting some kind of therapy or some such,
Okay.
how much does society get back? How much is our return of investment in that? I'll
I
give you a
don't
clue.
know.
It's a lot better than oil, coal, any commodity
And that's quite high as well.
you care to mention.
Yeah.
For every pound you put into healthcare, you get £14 back to society. So we're
Okay.
not a fucking burden, okay? If that's mental health care, that's £7 for every pound. For accessible employment, what do you think that might be? £11 per pound.
Okay.
We're not
No.
burdens.
No.
So even arts at school, for every pound you put into arts education at school, £9 back. Music at school, £9 back. Sure Start. I mean, you think that Sure Start was one of the great stories. For every pound you put in, you get £2 back, but that's still doubling your money.
Aye. Yep.
So diversity, okay? You think people rant on about diversity and it's an absolute waste of money. You get £6 back. So we have to ask the question:
Baffling. Absolutely baffling. Yeah.
what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
This has got "what the fuck" written all over it. We're
Yep.
being told something that just isn't true. Am I ranting?
Just a little bit. But no, it is. That is like, when you kind of put it into that sort of context, like it is infuriating.
Yeah, yeah. It is remarkable, isn't it?
Mm.
But it is so easy just to believe because you think of sick people, they're going to cost money and they are going to be a burden, but we don't think about them contributing to society in whatever way that we contribute.
And again, it
Um,
goes back to that, I suppose, we were talking about that influencers, like people, and that's what the government hope. They hope that the information that they give, people are going to just take that and believe it as it is and not question it.
yeah.
And that does happen with people, doesn't it? And then I guess there's obviously lots of people that feel like they maybe know that is absolute nonsense that they're spouting, but just then again back to that sort of helplessness and feeling like, well, I can't do anything about it.
So we're not helpless.
No,
We're not a bird. We're not a burden.
no.
One of the things I want to be talking about in the not too distant future is something called the ugly laws.
Mm.
And in the United States, up until the mid 70s, from the late 19th century right up until uh, the the mid 70s, they didn't call them the ugly laws, but they came to be known as the ugly laws. And essentially, the law meant that if you were if your appearance or if you being in the same social space as somebody else and you cause that person distress just by your very existence, and that includes people with mental health problems, that includes people with wheelchair users, that includes, I guess, people of colour, all kinds of shit,
Yeah.
then that was seen as a crime and that you had best stay at home. And there's a real feeling that that's going on just now. And yes, I'm leading the witness, Sim. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the weird curfew you kind of live under.
The weird curve. Yeah, it's the 6 p.m. curfew type. It's exactly that. It's society presumes you're in I'm in a wheelchair, therefore I'm going to be tucked up in bed by 6 p.m. It's the and therefore I've been trying to find the story, but there a few years ago there was a court hearing with a guy who parked in a disabled bay at 7 p.m. without a blue badge, and he was arguing that he didn't need to pay for the ticket and everything. His argument was because well, it's okay. It was after 6 p.m. Nobody will be going out after 6 p.m. if you need a blue badge.
So no disabled people out
Yeah.
after 6 p.m. I think I saw a wonderful riposte to that, which said, we're disabled, we're not fucking werewolves.
Yes. It was just
So, but your curfew is kind of imposed on you through your care package.
yeah. So I've got to be back by certain times of the day. I've got to be
Yeah.
in. I've got to. I've got help. I have a visit from healthcare professionals on a Monday and a Thursday, and they never give me a specific time of day that they come. They come anytime between 8:30 in the morning and 5 p.m. And I've just got to sit here and wait
Wow.
all day. Every Monday and every Thursday. It used to be 3 times a week. It's now gone
So
down to
every Monday and every Thursday you're not allowed to go out to play.
I wish. No.
But it's nuts, isn't it?
And then I asked them, "Oh, can you just at least phone me when
Yeah.
you're on the way, when you're leaving the previous visit?" No, that's not allowed.
Right. I was a social worker for 1,000 years. I mean, look at me. I'm only 28. It was a damaging career, and I know that's bullshit. You set up home visits. You set up these things. You schedule your professional life. You should be able to give people some kind of heads up as to when you're going to be visiting, but having you stay in all day, twice a week.
And then they do that, and they say these comments like, "Oh, you need to go out more. You need to go out. You need to go out and socialise more. You need to do this. You need to do that." I'm like,
Oh, mhm.
okay. I would
I-
love to do that. Trust me, I would love to be able to do that. But you need to put things in place to allow me to do that rather than kind of imprisoning me, basically. Yeah.
I mean, how does that feel? So, if we go down the lines of right, you moved into your own place and you thought, right, independence, here I come. This is it.
Yes.
I'm no longer going to be a burden on my parents. I'm going to live this
Yeah.
this vida loca. And you know, it does feel kind of that's not been the case.
No. No, it hasn't. And as you know, you've had countless conversations about this on the phone. The plan failed in that respect. But again, I moved into my flat just after lockdown. So my social work assessment for my care package was done via Zoom during lockdown, and so they couldn't come and meet me. They couldn't actually assess my needs in my flat. So they created a care plan, which basically took a whole year to write, and then
Well,
when
yeah, the writing is hard. Hold on, right? So a whole year to write a care plan.
Yeah.
I, was this was Tolstoy your social worker? Did they write a full sort of 1,000 pages on the life and times of Sim?
I've not actually seen that care plan.
Do you know? I think there's a good reason why this live stream is called "What the Fuck," because that's
Yeah.
got what the fuck written all over it.
100%.
So
Yeah.
you, Siobhan, you work for a mental health charity, and you provide support, or you support people who support people. And do you get a feeling that you're able to be flexible, or are you flexible in that support, or or do you get people staying in all day, like they're waiting for some kind of errant plumber?
No, I would never expect that from people. People have lives, and yeah, despite, if you need that support, like, yeah, you have to have that flexibility, don't you? Because, yeah, you can't expect people to sit in their house for hours and on end just waiting without knowing, like, somebody's going to show up or phone or that's mad.
It is insane.
But the difference is, this is this isn't mental health. This is physical kind of
Yeah.
and
Mm.
health rather than mental health. But yeah. But what's interesting, like in Scotland, is that like is it different in different? Is it different in different areas of Scotland, or is it like nationwide, basically?
Well, I think very soon, and in next week's episode, where we talk about ADHD, we're going to find that a local issue, what we thought was a local issue, is actually a national issue.
Mhm.
So anyway, have we had any other people engaging? I can see from Twitter and the other places there are people watching, but they're just
Yeah.
they
Yeah, we've got some watchers, but
and
no
quite
other
rightfully
comments.
hovering on the outskirts, thinking, I don't fucking know if I'm going to talk to these three brand new
I
people.
think maybe, as we said,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
first one. They'll just be kind of wanting to
Absolutely.
get a flavour of
Yeah,
what we're
yeah,
all about and
yeah.
what we're doing. But absolutely, comment away.
Yeah,
Give us your
yeah,
questions. Let's give your experiences of things,
yeah.
because
I'd love
that's what
to
it's
hear it.
about. Yeah, getting all that engagement from
So,
people watching.
we're this is being recorded, so we'll share
Yeah.
this so that you can look back on this, and we're going to be providing shorts for your
Mhm.
Instagram, because that's just how kind we just keep giving, really, is what we do, because you're worth it. Um, so, and again, we'd be delighted if you'd comment and get back to us. And if you think there's the sort of thing that your friends and family might be into, then ping them our way. And if you would like to sit here on this screen with us and have a conversation and explain what your situation is, I mean, you might be thinking, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Everything's brilliant. Everything's rosy. Everything's rosy in my garden. Thank you very much.
Well, we want to hear that too, though. We want to hear what's working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, things are working for
yeah,
you. Come and tell us as well. We'd like to hear. Yeah.
it was weird. The project that I was involved in uh, at the Royal College, it's interesting to find a lot of the really good practice is happening in prisons. And I don't know if I want that to be the case. I mean, I quite like the idea of our prisoners with any kind of malady being well looked after, but I'd like to think that the community would be providing a good service as well. So I can't quite remember what the point Naomi's made, because there's been an awful lot of waffle under my bridge since then. What, just as a quick reminder, what was she saying? Have you
She
got? Is
said,
it?
also because we need recognition of the huge impact of long-standing ongoing disability and illness. A lot of discussions can get co-opted by being told, oh, these staff are personal experience too. I don't in any way want to support a hierarchy, but
Yeah.
there is a big difference between short-term counselling for a one-off episode of anxiety or depression, which requires no or a few weeks off, and lifelong experiences that affect your ability to function on a daily basis.
I think, Joe, while I was thinking about that, I think that's a really good point, because one of the things that comes free with having a disability or a mental malady in the UK is poverty. Um, so if you've been on benefits for a zillion years, then the levels of poverty just build up. Your access to stuff is just not the same as it would be
Mm.
that other people get. Do you know? I know this is, yeah. I always do this to you, Sim, but I immediately start thinking, when I start saying the words accessibility, I start thinking about you. And not only are you not allowed out to play after 6 o'clock, but when you go into the environment around you, um, there are places where you just can't go.
No, it's now websites say that places are wheelchair accessible or they are accessible, but then you go to these different venues and you find that they might have a ramp to get into the building, but then the rest of the building, you're basically fucked.
I don't know how that happens. I don't. I was at Paddington station not so long ago, and there's this beautiful sweeping ramp that goes up to a point, and then there's 4 steps at the end of it. Why? Why would anybody do that? You know, make it accessible or not. Don't make it kind of don't sort of tempt people in and go, "Look, here's what you could have won."
Yeah.
Bad.
It's
So right, we're kind of drifting towards that merry end. What do you guys want from our listener viewer people?
Questions.
Questions? Yeah,
Like questions. Yeah, but yeah, just that. Again, questions, bring their experience of, yeah, services or just, general kind of what they've, even work experiences, just life experience, just, yeah, as you said, to get that sort of collective voice, this is kind of what is going on, in people's worlds. And,
yeah, yeah.
because we do hear pockets of it, don't we?
We
As you
do.
said, we've got some good practice and then you've got some really shit practice, and it's about kind of bringing that all together and saying, well, actually, how can we have consistently good practice across the board? So yeah, just people's
Thank you.
experiences,
Yeah,
questions, just engage with us, talk to us.
cool. What about you, Sim? What are your thoughts?
yeah. That like I think we do need to talk about, and we can all agree there's a lot of negativity in the news at the moment. So actually talking about services that are, I think we do need to concentrate on the services that are working and the places where it is working, so that we can kind of promote what is working. But I think if people can start sending in stories of where things are working, because I think otherwise BBC, Sky News, they're not going to talk. They're not going to talk about these these sort of stories. They're not going to talk about when services are working. They're just going to be writing articles about when people have been let down. Which
Yeah, yeah.
I think then puts people off even going to their GP, then going to.
So if you've got no expectations, you're going to just think, fuck it, I'll not bother.
Yeah.
I'll just.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you sort of touched on there is that we don't. This isn't just about calling people out and saying you're a shit nurse, shit doctor, shit professional. It's about calling people in. It's about acknowledging that the environment that professionals find themselves in today
System.
is devastating.
Yeah.
It's
It's that there's no lack of consistency, and I
yeah,
think that's the issue, is that nobody really knows what the fuck they're doing, because one, that this place is doing this and they're doing this differently and they're doing that differently, there's no consistency, and then everybody's just going, like, again, just what the fuck what the fuck is going
yeah,
on?
yeah. I mean, we were told that people are, organisations have to make efficiency savings, and
Mhm.
I've worked in social work departments when we've had enough money, and I've worked in them when we've not had enough money, and
Yeah.
when you've not got enough money, you're not saving money because you become incredibly inefficient.
Mm.
Because you end up fighting everybody to try and get a penny. So, in social care, you're fighting the NHS and saying, no, this is your responsibility,
Mhm.
when it's more of a nuanced argument. So, that I don't know, we need to call people in and say, yes, acknowledge this is hard and we need to move together. And like I've said, there are 25 million of us, and 25 million of us can make a hell of a change. Uh,
Definitely.
and we can be from inside. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
it's
say,
exciting.
I've been Chris Young, and thank you so much for listening, watching, and being lovely. And Naomi, thank you for your question.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm not going to talk about favourites, but you're our favourite, Naomi. You'll be winning this week's prize of a luxury cruise in Auchtermuchty, which Actually, does Okta have anywhere to anyway? So, but yeah, thank you everybody for listening.
Yep.
Who have you two
Like,
been?
comment, share. Yeah.
Yes.
Just I was gonna say, like, comment, share. Get send it to people. Just as
And
much engagement as possible.
who have you lovely people been?
I've been Siobhan.
That's been brilliant. It's been lovely to have you. And
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
yes, we will. And Simeon, who have you been?
Yeah. Not very polished. Yeah.
Sorry, have I been? Was I needing the witness there? Listen, thanks ever so much, both of you, for helping me
A lot of fun.
realise
Well,
this somewhat bizarre dream. Okay. Now I'm just going to let people sort of see behind the curtain a little bit. Now, when I press stop on the recorded bit, now it's really important that neither of you switch your doodads off, because it won't have finished loading up
It's a bit of our time. Mhm.
your bit of filming.
Okay.
But to all our listener viewer people, there's nothing to see here, guys. We've just, there's no technical problems ever. We've experienced nothing, and so please join us next week. Please comment on all the shorts that will be going out, and do have a look at the video as it goes out, and have a think about how we can work better together and really begin to change stuff. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.